You feel that something inside you is dying. But it's not sadness. It's as if the universe is quietly dismantling everything you were, not out of cruelty, but because the time has come to remember who you really are. Maybe you've tried to explain it, but words fail. Perhaps you have felt disconnected even from the practices that once sustained you. Perhaps you are entering the rarest and quietest stage of spiritual awakening. And almost no one talks about it. Because this moment does not come with lights, nor with glory. It comes with emptiness. And only the most powerful healers, those who have gone all the way down, can recognize it. If this resonates with you, then what are you about to see? It's not just a video. It is a mirror. Enter the number 9 in the comments if you ever felt like you were missing out on everything. But, deep down, I knew that it was just the beginning of something much bigger. That simple number is more than a symbol, it is a silent call among healers in final awakening. If you type, those who are also going through this will recognize you. And maybe, just maybe, you realize that you have never been alone. There is a level of awakening that is not talked about in books, a stage so raw, so isolating, and so real that most people who reach it don't even know how to explain it. This is because it is not just a change in mentality, it is a complete dismantling of their identity. This awakening is experienced only by the rarest and most powerful healers, and it is neither glamorous nor peaceful. It seems that everything you knew stops working until something much bigger takes its place. Not everyone reaches this point, not even all awakened souls. This is the truth that no one tells you. The most powerful healers go through the most intense, painful, and confusing inner transformations. And the final awakening does not come peacefully. He tears everything up, silences everything you thought you knew, not to destroy you, but to rebuild you from the inside out. If you've been experiencing strange bodily symptoms, deep inner silences, or a total loss of desire to help someone, you may think you're broken. But the reality is that you are activating something that only the rarest souls carry, the final awakening of a true healer. And these are the signs that prove it, and the number 6 will really surprise you. This may be the most misunderstood symptom of all. One day, you just stop. You stop trying to help others, stop checking in, stop analyzing every emotion or trauma within yourself. You don't lose compassion, you just lose momentum. And instead of panic, you feel motionless, almost blank, as if your system is shutting down all the noise for a reason you can't name. This is where the final awakening begins, not with motivation, but with emptiness. You are not lazy, you are not numb, you have simply reached the limit of your current capacity. For years, perhaps for your entire life, your nervous system has been programmed to care, to heal, to check, to give your energy. And now the system has turned, he wants nothing. You find yourself no longer interested in spiritual tools, self-help books, energy work, or emotional processing. And it seems strange, even wrong. But deep down, you know it's not a loss, it's a cleansing. Because, at this stage, the healer becomes hollow, not broken, emptied so that something entirely new can come in, something old, something beyond technique. And this emptiness in which you are sitting is not the end, it is the sacred space before you finally remember who you were before the identity of a healer existed. At first, it starts as irritation. You feel drained after simple conversations. You pick up on the tension of people who aren't even aware that they're designing. Then, it goes deeper, and suddenly it's no longer about who you can tolerate, it's about who your body refuses to be close to. You notice that your body contracts, closes up, becomes overwhelmed, even with people you once loved. It is not judgment, it is not ego, it's your energy saying, this is no longer safe. On final awakening, your vibrational field becomes non-negotiable. And the moment someone's presence requires you to cringe, mask, or carry their pain, your system begins to reject it at a cellular level. You'll have headaches, digestive problems, random anxiety, even rashes or flare-ups. Not because you are sensitive, but because your body is finally imposing the limits that your spirit has always needed. This is why powerful healers in final awakening begin to isolate themselves, not out of fear, but because their system is rewriting the rules of connection. You are no longer here to carry anyone's shadow, and your body is the first to know when someone's energy is asking you to do just that. So if being around other people has felt heavy, confusing, or even unbearable lately, you're not antisocial, you are being rewired. And loneliness is not loneliness, it's calibration. You're walking, cooking, scrolling through social media, not doing anything special, and suddenly, something happens, a rush of sadness, a strange pain, tears that come out of nowhere, or even a sudden burst of joy, clarity, or softness that's so great it almost takes your breath away. And when you try to track it down, you can't. It is not connected to a memory, it is not about your past, it's simply is. This is what happens when your body becomes a vessel for collective liberation. You're not just clearing your own trauma, you have opened the channel enough to feel what others are still burying. That doesn't make you a martyr, it makes you an instrument, one so finely tuned that you can carry what others are not ready to feel. But here's the difference, at this stage, you don't cling to the feeling, you don't try to analyze it. You let it move because you're no longer here to name everything, you are here to transmute. And when that happens, your job isn't to find out, it is trusting in your ability to feel deeply without drowning, to contain the pain and let it pass. And the fact that you can do that now, that you can sit on a giant wave of energy and stay whole, is proof that you have entered the final phase. You used to know what you were doing. You had a system, a flow, a rhythm. Perhaps you practiced energy work, or taught others, or held a sacred space through words. But now it's as if nothing works anymore. The techniques seem empty, the words make no sense, the sessions are silent. And instead of panic, you feel surrendered, as if your hands are being guided to something you haven't learned yet, but already carry. This is where your healing transcends knowledge. In the final awakening, healers stop doing healing and begin to embody it. His presence becomes the medicine, his stillness becomes the channel, his silence becomes louder than any affirmation. This is also why many powerful healers go through a phase of total confusion in their practice. Not because they are lost, but because their method is being rewritten through them. What used to take hours now takes minutes. What required effort now happens through a look, a breath, a pause. You are no longer the facilitator, you are frequency itself. And if your healing style is falling apart right now, don't fix it. Let it deconstruct, let it crumble, because what is trying to emerge will not fit into the container it came to replace. You've rested before. There were lazy weekends, solitary retreats, even burnouts. But this is different. You don't just want a break, you want stillness. You want to disconnect from everything, disappear into silence, stop participating in the noise of the world. And not because you're tired, but because your body is demanding it like never before. This kind of stillness is not sleep, it is not self-care, it is activation. What is happening now is a complete energy restructuring. Your aura is going through realignment, your nervous system is recalibrating. And for the most powerful healers, this kind of transition can only happen when the outside world is turned off. You'll notice that you avoid even mild distractions. You may feel repelled by phone notifications, music, or even conversations. You feel emotionally flooded with noisy energy, overstimulated by trivial conversations, and physically tense in hectic environments. And in that silence, something sacred begins, your own voice becomes audible again. This level of silence may seem strange at first, because it is not passive, it is profoundly intelligent. It's full of instructions that can only be heard once your old rhythm dies down. So if you find yourself in need of stillness, alone time, or complete detachment, don't explain, don't apologize. This is the space where your true healing self is finally being downloaded. You don't know how you know, you just know. You feel things before they happen. You feel someone's truth before they tell it. You know who to distance yourself from without needing proof. And the weirdest part, you stop questioning. You just follow. In this final phase, the healer no longer separates intuition from action. You're not waiting for confirmation, you're not looking for signs, your body is the sign. This is the transition from orientation to embodiment. You've processed enough, learned enough. Now your system is simply operating from the authority within. You don't need cards, pendulums, or validation. The information comes through your cells, your silence, your immediate emotional response. And you trust that. This is also why others may feel intimidated by you right now, because your clarity is undeniable. You no longer ask, why, you move by instinct. And this instinct has nothing to prove. This level of knowledge is not learned, is remembered. And it only emerges after you have been stripped of all the voices that told you to doubt yourself. You've spent years asking, learning, trying. Now you just know. If these signs sound familiar, sign up now, because your awakening deserves to be understood, not ignored. There is a moment when everything that once fit suddenly no longer fits. You look at your social media, your spiritual practice, your routines, your words, and none of them look like you anymore. Not because they were wrong, but because they were too small. This is the time when your frequency surpasses your identity. For the final healer, this phase is disorienting. You begin to shed everything you once claimed as your truth, the labels, the methods, even the people you once resonated with. It's not personal, it is energetic. You're expanding, and your outside world can't keep up. You may even feel like you are floating between timelines, not anchored in your past, nor fully rooted in the future, but hovering in the unknown. And here's the hard part, nothing will make sense right away. You will not have the new path mapped out. You'll just know that the old one is over. And this knowledge will echo in your posture, your silence, your limits. You will begin to move more slowly, to talk less, to observe more, because you are no longer in reaction, you're in reinvention. And the truth is that your soul is building a new foundation, and that foundation will not be built using your old self as a blueprint. The final and most profound realization is this: you never came here to save the world. You never came here to endure everyone's pain. You never came here to live within the archetype of the healer forever. You came here to be complete. And suddenly you feel it, the silent desire to just live, to laugh without being spiritual, to eat without overanalyzing your energy, to cry without attributing it to a shadow, to exist without fixing anything. This is the time when you become the most powerful version of yourself, because for the first time your power is not being poured out on others, is being integrated into your humanity. You stop leading people, you start walking with them. You stop talking from knowledge, you start talking from experience. You stop offering healing and start embodying wholeness. And the people who meet you after this change do not come to be saved, they come to remind you of who they are just by being close to you, because you are no longer the healer, you are the mirror. If you've reached this stage, you've gained something that few people ever touch, the right to stop becoming and just being you. You no longer pursue growth for the sake of healing. You no longer shape-shift to conform to the expectations of others. You no longer need your pain to have a spiritual label. You are allowed to be kind, angry, quiet, playful. You are allowed to be all the things that your healing self has never made room for, because your awakening is no longer about expansion, it's about return, back to the breath, back to the body, back to you. If this resonates with you, if you have felt the loss of old tools, the collapse of your identity as a healer, the sacred silence that no one else seems to understand, then this space is for you. Sign up not because you need more answers, but because you already know. This is where your final awakening becomes real, and you no longer have to walk alone. And if someone says that you stopped, that you walked away. Remember, you have not disappeared. You have just gone back inside, where the true healer has always been.